valuable thing for us, then, is this power to release value, for it is the only solutional thing that we have. And this release of value gives us the nearest of truth that we will probably ever be able to know or appreciate. Perhaps all that we will ever need to know. For truth, for our kind of creature, is fulfilled in the realization of the inevitable and immediate nobility of that creature. Truth for man is for him to realize that he is a radiant truth being. Consequently, in the Buddhist philosophy, particularly the Jodo sect, we learn that the Amitabha concept, in which this magnificent being, seated forever upon the open petals of the golden lotus of the sky, with its radiance extending through 10 myriads of worlds, its benevolence touching into every part of existence, this being that to our Western minds is little less than a god, if we are interested in the concept at all. Certainly this being that seems to possess every attribute of a divinity, suitable for worship and veneration. Yet to the Amidist, this great concept of Amitabha is not a god at all. It is simply man come of age. It is what man is. Instead of viewing this as some wonderful, mysterious power that could only come from a being infinitely greater than man, therefore requiring a vast concept of theistic forces operating in nature, Amitabha, the all-compassionate, the perfectly enlightened, the Lord of life and death, the infinite servant of all that lives, who has planned in its own consciousness not only the salvation of man, but the salvation of every blade of grass, that not only is the illumined Buddha of mortals, but is also the perfection of the lotus and the star, the perfection of the bird, the perfection of everything. For into this great concept flows everything that lives. For in Buddhism there is no heaven just for men. There is only growth for all things. Yet this concept of this supreme, unselfish being that can never rest, never sleep, and never find peace until the least of all living things, each grain of sand, each mote floating in the sunbeam, has become in its turn a fully enlightened Buddha. This being is not a god. It is merely the goodness in man himself. It is the thing that man would want. It is the thing that man is. It is the growing up and maturing of the father and the mother sacrificing for their child. It is the growing up and maturing of great dedicated human beings, world teachers, who have died at the stake or on the cross for man. It is simply the tremendous fact that inside of man is a being so infinite in value that we hardly dare to speculate about it. Yet it is this humanity which is growing up within the person. And it is the recognition of this and the cultivation of this power which to the Eastern mind constitutes value. Therefore, the most noble value in all the world is the realization of our inevitable opportunity and obligation to grow. The only thing valuable really to man is his growth toward the fulfillment of his own destiny. Not because this destiny is a selfish achievement, but because this destiny is part of the inevitable process necessary to the fulfillment of all things for all creatures everywhere. In the Buddhist canon, consequently, we do have this feeling of value. We have the value of the realization that the search for value is forever the dedication of self to the mystery that is locked within the mortal structure of man. This dedication to mystery may express itself as discipline, as the continuing remembrance of the law in action. To sense this and to achieve it was one of the great principles of Zen doctrine. And I think this principle lingers on in many other religions of the world to become a very forceful element. Today we are searching for peace. Perhaps more than ever before, peace seems valuable to us. We would mostly sacrifice many things we have today if we knew that we would never again be faced with the danger of nuclear warfare. If we knew today that we could, by the surrender of material things in great measure, if by the giving up of much of what we have, or most of what we have, we could end the danger of war, I think most persons would make that sacrifice. Because it has come too close to us now, this danger of the thing which is not valuable. And suddenly out of all of this dilemma appears the value of something we have neglected, the value of peace. Now, peace or concord among nations is merely an extension of the peace principle as it exists within ourselves. We can never have peace in the world unless there is peace in man. And of course we mean in this sense essentially what we must mean, namely that we are referring to lack of peace between men. War is a human phenomenon as far as man is concerned. There is strife in other parts of nature, that we know. But the peculiar war that we fear most, the unreasonable and uncertain war, is the result of man's own conspiracy against man. And this is a thing for which we seek a solution. And we dream of the possibility of peace. We dream it because we know it. We dream it because every one of us at some time or other has experienced inward peace. We know it because some way we value it, even though it is not commonly attained by us or commonly available to us. So peace becomes value, especially when there seems to be great danger that it may be lost to us. Peace is more, however, than the end of war. Peace is the end of fear in man, for without peace, fear cannot end. And with peace, all fears can naturally be sublimated. But even here we have another value which intrudes itself strongly into our pattern, and that is the value of faith. Faith is something which we have discovered to be a strangely magical agent. So if we have to search for something that helps us with value, we can think of faith. Now, man could not have faith unless man was man. Man could not have faith unless for millions of years man had been growing up in a world in which certain mental phenomena constantly occurred. Man could not have faith unless he was the peculiar creature that he is. And faith such as man possesses is not possible to any other creature. But this does not mean that other creatures do not have faith of their own. But the peculiar faith that we have is a faith related to the need and means of our own kind. Man is the only creature that we know of that is capable of the full conscious experience of faith in self. Other creatures have faith in man, but man alone seemingly has faith in himself. The faith in himself is born of the fact that internally he knows the strength that is at the root and core of his own being. Man is capable, therefore, of a direct act of faith, because man knows that what we call faith is a believing in something that inwardly that man already knows. Believing is therefore, or faith, is a clarifying toward the conscious recognition of that which is already known. Faith is not an imaginary make-believing thing. Faith is merely the final evidence of the fact already realized. Man has the power of faith because man already has that which will sustain faith. Faith, however, becomes an open way by which the individual trusts himself to the full meaning of his own internal strength. By faith, man can step out into the unknown, not just simply because he has faith, but because in man there is the strength to do this thing. Faith, therefore, releases the strength that is, although for most people it is a substitute for strength, or is something in which we are taking a long chance, sustained only by some exterior belief or some conviction. But actually, faith that tells the man that he can do wonders is only telling him the fact about himself. But we do not know this, because again we are locked from the very substance of our own believing. So faith gives us certain positive attitudes. Faith is value, then, and fear is lack of value. Faith as value supports resolution to use internal potential. And we know time and time again how this operates, how it moves in life. We have a popular saying that has been used in popular metaphysics and popular psychology for many, many years, namely that the individual can accomplish or be that which he is convinced he can accomplish or be. That if he has the firm and certain realization, he can achieve in accordance with that realization, so long as that realization is reasonable. This simply means in the Eastern philosophy of things that man, by the act of faith, claims his own birthright. Now remember that this act of faith has nothing to do with the fact that he's entitled to a new apartment house or something of that nature. This fact of faith has to do with his power to live according to greater value. Faith, finally, is the conviction that we can be better than we think we can. Faith is not a belief in a situation which will endorse delinquency. Faith is the conviction that there is more inside of man than he has suspected, and that if he needs it, if he very simply and naturally asks for it, with the proper attitude of his own consciousness, it will be available to him. But if he asks for it for reasons that are themselves without value, he will move that old law of karma in on himself and wish he had never done it. But faith to the Buddhist mystic is just this power to achieve that which is inevitable, the achievement of that which is near and proper. Therefore, faith is the bridge which unites the world of illusion and the world of reality. And across this bridge built of faith, man can move from the appearance of things to the substance of things. And he can also move the inner substance of his nature out into the world of phenomena to direct his action and his conduct in harmony with truth and with principles. So we have in the search for value the final discovery of value in self. We have the infinite recognition that the great source of all that is necessary to man has to be